Hi, Greg with A&A Masonry. Again, I'm on another site. You can see there's a lot of activity with jobs going on behind me. We have several different jobs on this particular site. We actually like these kind of jobs. This is more of an aesthetic transformation of the house. You can see we're putting a stone veneer over the brick to match the center column, which was the original design and build of this house. The homeowners wanted to have more stone look, so we're giving it to them by applying a stone veneer right up on the front. So it's going to unidentify this house with every other house in the neighborhood. It's going to look beautiful. The other thing we're doing with this is we're taking care of an irritant in the garage. Even though this is somewhat of a new build, the garage floor has become pitted, it's spalled, it's collecting dirt and dust. They're bringing that into the house. So they wanted a solution, not to re-pour, to rip it out, but to have a solution where they can seal it and have a proper finish on it. And we're doing that with the urethane. It's a proprietary blend used exclusively with A&A Masonry. We mix it in a way that it is going to be more durable and stronger than epoxy and flexible for our elements in the Greater Toronto area. We're also sealing the foundation with SurGard, which on the vertical, it prevents and seals the foundation from water penetrating it, but also allows it to breathe as moisture or humidity is going through the materials. And that will prevent blistering or anything else like that from happening. So that'll ensure that the foundation exterior is protected over time, but it's not going to become a eyesore where you have spalling or peeling or blistering paint. This adheres to it decades, commercial grade, just a wonderful product. We're applying it to most of our jobs now going forward. And the nice thing is, again, it's an aesthetic choice because the homeowner can choose a variety of colors and again, personalize their fix, their transformation of their house. And that reminds me, if you are interested in doing anything that is going to improve your house, whether it's going to be aesthetics or you have a simple problem, feel free to contact us directly. You can reach us online, anamasonry.ca. You can also just pick up the phone and call us. We have live operators. They'll take your information, they'll dispatch it to a professional like myself, and and the other professionals will spend the time with you discussing various options that you may have, what your wants, your needs, the products that are out there, the cost associated with those things, and give you something that you'll be proud to have and you'll enjoy for years and years to come. Give us a call.
A&A Masonry, an award-winning company servicing the Greater Toronto Area and the Golden Horseshoe. This job has several components, as Greg just mentioned. The first part starts with the garage floor and the sides of the walls that are painted brown. The floor shows the erosion and cracks from years of cars coming in and leaving water and salt from the roads, allowing the floor to progress into the present condition. SurGard is the ultimate solution to protect the floor and walls and keep the inside of the garage free from any more erosion. The first action is for the crew to grind down the surfaces where the protective components will be applied. A very smooth surface is required so the urethane can adhere and fully protect the concrete. Once the grinding is done and the floor is completely cleaned up, the application of the SurGard urethane can start. Once the crew have applied the SurGard proprietary blend urethane coating, the garage is now protected from the elements that cause the erosion from here on out. As you can see, it has left the walls and floor with an extremely smooth, clean surface that will last years and will stop water and salt erosion that could result in spalling. This also helps the problem of dust and dirt being tracked into the house as well. The next action is for the stone veneer to be installed on the brick. You can see here how the home looked before the stone installation. While one crew is finishing up the urethane in the garage, another crew is working to install the stone. The stone is custom cut and measured to make an extremely aesthetic design on the home. They first start at the base of the exterior of the garage and work up. The higher and higher they go, you can see the stone start to blend in with the circular section of the home already with stone on it. The new stone is designed to make a great match with the existing stone. You can see the great custom work being done over the arches of the windows as the crew go higher, installing the stone on the home. This is artisan work that creates a super design that increases the aesthetic value of the home considerably.
Okay, we're getting through this job. You can see we're almost finished up on the veneer work on the top half of the structure of the home here. Again, we did a veneer to match the existing stone that was in the center circular part of this home. They finished up the mortar. You can see it looks like it was originally built this way. It completely transforms the aesthetic look of this house. The owners are really loving it. It's going to be beautiful. And when we're all done, it's going to, again, transform this home. The amazing thing is how little these kind of aesthetic improvements cost when you consider the value of the house and the change that happens going from a brick to a stone front home. It's absolutely a no-brainer when you consider if this is the kind of look that you're looking for.
And now, as we look at the stone job complete, we can see the total change in the look and how the stone matches the original stone on the circular or turret section of the home. It looks like the home was built this way, plus it definitely causes the home to really stand out in the neighborhood and increases the home value as well. The next action consists of the excavation of the backyard where the waterproofing is to be done before putting in an aggregate concrete walkway and patio slab. This is all done to prepare the base and the different levels for the crew to pour the concrete. Here is Greg describing the details needed to set up for a perfect concrete job.
Continuing on in this job, we're in the back of the house. We're going to be doing an exposed aggregate that's going to carry around both sides of the home, including the driveway. An exposed aggregate. It's going to be a really nice look. That's what these homeowners called for in this transformation of the look. We got rid of the existing interlock and we're putting this exposed aggregate. A couple of the technical things I want to add to this and show and point out what makes concrete different from one job to the next. It's always in the preparation. It's always in the care in what you do under the concrete surface slab itself, which will enable water to move without shifting, heaving, and also how you handle the concrete when it's being poured in a way that is not going to affect what we call the slump value, the moisture ratio with the material itself. They're getting ready. They're starting to pour the concrete now as I'm speaking. A couple of the things that I want to mention is that very basic techniques that we use a gasket up against the brick line there where it meets the house. That's going to be for expansion. It's going to prevent insects, moisture from getting in there, causing the spalling to happen. We also have a wire mesh here, which is going to increase the strength of the concrete. And we're also using a pea gravel under here as opposed to a 3/4 inch crushed stone. We want water to be able to move under the concrete, flow away without setting or removing any of the finer sediments that come sometimes with a crushed stone 3/4 inch base. So let's let the guys work. We're going to take a look at it. You're going to see how they move it. And they're not going to be applying too much movement on top of the concrete. If you ever notice or see concrete surfaces where they spall and they flake off on the surface, it's usually a result of too much movement in the concrete with the crew. It brings the water content more to the surface and it affects that slump value that I talked about. Let's watch and take a look. When it's done, it's going to look amazing. I'm really excited to see this transformation take place.
As the concrete comes out of the concrete delivery hose, the crew spread it around at first to make sure that the volume becomes evenly spread. The crew consists of the right number of workers to properly maintain the concrete as it comes out.
As the job is progressing, one of the biggest things that we see in failures with residential concrete mostly is having the ability to take the time, the right amount of people to deal with the concrete. The fewer people on a larger job, more surface area, the harder it is to manage the concrete to give it a proper, consistent finish so it's not going to want to spall and flake, and also to get rid of all the air pockets, things that will cause imperfections and cracks into this concrete slab. We're also putting a weeping system. We do very big, again, as you know, A&A Masonry, we're very big on water management. That's what causes all these things to destroy and destruct and to fail. So we're doing a water management system, a weeping system around this. So any subsurface water, any water that's going to go up against it, it's going to get pulled away, and that's going to minimize any effect that the freezing and thawing cycles of water will have on this structure, this product that we're putting together. And again, it's just a matter of taking the time to move the concrete out in a way that you're not going to move and affect the slump value, so the water ratio is going to get more on the surface than it is in the rest of the concrete thickness. Again, they're going to finish up on here. Let's keep watching. It's exciting to watch. I've always loved concrete, and I appreciate the skill that it takes to do this.
You can see the crew spreading the concrete and some of them starting to smooth out the surface. As they do this, they also keep lifting the wire mesh so that the concrete will cure with the mesh in the concrete and not lying underneath. This is done in order to give the concrete strength and increase its longevity. And on this process goes, spreading the concrete, making sure the mesh is not on the bottom, and smoothing the surface. You can also see the care the crew take in ensuring the concrete meets the gasket at the side of the home and that it's on a proper level. Once the concrete is poured thoroughly on the main slab, the crew continue to work to spread it out and level it. While leveling of the slab continues, the crew start to pour the concrete walkway. As they pour and level the walkway, the final leveling and smoothing of the concrete surface on the slab takes place.
So we see the crew finishing up here. They're really taking the time to make sure the surface is leveled, slightly beveled. I can see by eye when I get down the slope that's going to draw the water away. This was a customer that originally had a water issue getting into the basement, so we don't want to unintentionally cause any trouble with that. So we're going to manage the surface water, the subgrade water around this product to keep it away from the house. They're getting ready in the next few minutes. They're going to apply the surface retarder, which is going to slow down the curing process on the surface, which is going to allow them to wash off the cement and expose the aggregate and give that nice exposed aggregate finish. Let's take a look, watch them finish up the job and see the aggregate come to life as they proceed with this job.
At this point, the time is being put in to do the finishing touches of the job. This consists of continuing to smooth the concrete, finish off the edges, and all the work needed for a perfect job. This is the reason that A&A always has the top crews in the business. It is so important on jobs like these that the proper time is spent to do a perfect job. It can become common in the industry for contractors to cut corners, try to do a faster job, etc. This all adds up to a compromised job that will not last and will not look perfect. And here you can see the slab and concrete cured and dry and can be walked on for now. The exposed aggregate finish is now visible with the top layer now removed for a great look. It will have to be sealed, but this will have to wait for some time before sealing can take place. This could require up to 28 days or more, but the sealing will protect the concrete from water damage and help with the longevity of the product. At this point, the side walkways and the back are finished being poured and set. Next is the driveway to be done. Here again is Greg to describe this process and the difficulties common with driveways and a proper base for interlocking and concrete alike.
Okay, we just talked about a concrete job that had gone wrong, only a couple of years old. I'm also just up the street, one door down, and this is the typical interlocking that you may have seen when you look at interlocking stone, or you think of the problems with interlocking, or when we get calls in of fixing and replacing, which are abundant calls that come in, especially in the springtime. Jobs that aren't relatively old, they're within 2 or 3 years, but it's very typical. You can see where it's sagging in areas, its weeds are growing, there's a few cracked stones. Come on, I'm going to show you on the next job here that we're doing as to why this happens, and if it's done properly. Like when A&A does these type of jobs with interlocking stone, whether it's concrete or interlocking, it makes no difference. If it's done properly in the subgrade, in the consistency of compressing underneath here so that we can manage the water, this will not happen to your interlocking job. Okay, this is a good opportunity for us to show why interlocking fails and others don't. Those jobs, it's all in the base, it's all in the preparation before the material goes on. The original interlocking, I'm picking it up, I could see it here. It's manufactured to last a lifetime warranty, which is 40 years. It still would be usable. This homeowner took advantage of the idea of transformation. They want a different look, which is fine. but as we pull this interlocking off and we're going around with exposed aggregate to replace it, we can see what the problem was in the base here. They used a very fine limestone screening, which was very typical at the time in bygone periods of doing interlocking, but it doesn't handle the water. It gets down, it gets compressed down, and it holds the water. So when we go through our freezing thawing cycles, it'll cause these stones, these paving stones, to shift and move. The other thing I'm noticing is that we also, this is very common on a driveway where it starts to buckle and fold because of the pressure of the tires. When I get close to the base, I can see that there's hardly any subgrade here because it's all concentrated on the center and it tapers out. If we're to do this job properly, we're going to use a high performance bedding, which is a larger limestone screening base. It allows like a sponge for water to filter through naturally. So we call it self-leveling subgrades, and the water can flow under this material naturally. So whenever it accumulates and it wants to freeze, it's not going to have that same heaving effect. But we also want to do it slightly outside the perimeter so that this stone on the corner, which may take a tire as the car is coming on and off it, it'll be the same subgrade base, the same consistency as it is in the middle as it is on the sides. And that's what will ensure that if you were to do interlocking, in this case, it's going to last because we've managed the water. The material is manufactured to do just that in our environment. But in this case, we're going to come in and we're going to finish off with the exposed aggregate. We can see it coming around from the back all the way around the house. The crew's getting ready. They're going to remove this limestone base because we don't want this under our concrete. We're going to put some crushed stone under there, again, acting as a better filter for water to move under the grade. And when we're all done, the exposed aggregate, the final step is going to be to seal it. And then this project is done. And this project really stands out in this neighborhood.
And here is the finished home, complete with the exposed aggregate concrete driveway done. You can see the gorgeous look it provides, contrasting with the rest of the work done on the home.
Okay, this job is done. Final step, just seal the exposed aggregate. We're waiting a few days, perhaps a week or two, just to get the final moisture that's happening with the curing of the concrete. We don't want to trap any of that moisture with the sealant. Guys are going to come back, finishing touches, do the final cleanup. This place really had a transformation. We did waterproofing in the back. We did the sealant for the garage floor with some urethane on the floor, the foundation. We also did the exposed aggregate, of course. And the biggest change to this was doing the stone veneer over the brickwork in the front of the house. So the center column was original, then the rest of the house was brick. Now everything looks uniform. It really stands out in this neighborhood. It's an upper middle class scale neighborhood. It looks beautiful. And that's the whole point of doing these jobs. You know, you want to be able to enjoy the house, you want to be able to enjoy the improvements, and you want to get the maximum amount of return investment on the money that you put out into these type of endeavors. And that's key when it comes to dealing with the right crew, the right company that's going to take it from beginning to end, really concentrate on the details and have the proper input to pull it all together. Once this is sealed, it's really going to stand out. It's going to look beautiful. The final touch, nice and clean. Can't wait to see that happens. And if you're deciding to do something like this, again, you can reach out to A&A Masonry anytime. We have live operators. We'll put you together with a consultant such as myself. We'll go through what your needs, your considerations are, budget, things of that nature. And we too can provide you with a beautiful transformation on your house that you can enjoy for years to come.
So if you're looking to upgrade the appearance of your home and you want a top company that's going to do an outstanding job, make it beautiful and make it to last, contact A&A Masonry. Ask for their top crews and let them get you on the right path to make your home looking great and as safe as it can be for all the decades in the future. To schedule your next project, contact A&A Masonry today.